Well, along with free agency, the NHL annual draft is one of the highlights of the hockey off season, and that's what we look ahead to here right now. Let's introduce our panel. You're familiar with many, if not all of them, no doubt. Assistant General Manager of the Sharks and the General Manager of the San Jose Barracuda, Joe Will. Sharks Assistant General Manager Tim Burke, and the Sharks Director of Scouting, Doug Wilson Jr. Tim, let's start with you. How has the scouting staff had to adjust the way they watch players and also communicate amongst the larger group with the reports that you generate and discussions about players?
Yeah, well, we did a lot of preliminary work early on, and then we went back and looked at some video, and we went over the lists and things. So we've tried to stay up to date with it as much as we could. And we were ready to go before, and we're sure as hell ready to go now because we did our work was done, and we weren't sure exactly when this draft was going to take place. And Dougie Jr. was on top of this from day one, so I thought we were well ahead of schedule.
Speaking of Doug Wilson Jr., Doug, knowing that usually all the hockey team staff and the pro and amateur scouts get together in an arena usually, and you're around the table as the players are selected in the draft, give us an idea, if you would, how you and the staff have had to adjust with a virtual draft, and what does that look like over the next couple of days?
Ideally, Burke and I would be in the rinks together with the area guys. When everything shut down, it was right before the U18 World Junior Championships and all the major junior playoffs. So, the list this year, we had all of our work done, but the Central Scouting final list, they were done without playoffs and they were done without the championships. So I'm just really thankful that our scouts had put in a lot of time and effort into the interview process before that happened, so we can continue to go off our own internal list, which it should be pretty exciting. But we've just been doing a couple more Zooms with area guys, more FaceTimes, things of that nature, and making sure we got all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. But we're in good shape.
Tim, I know you're not going to give us any hints or secrets as we approach the draft here, but what can you tell us about this year's draft as a whole? Anything that the Sharks fans should be watching for in particular today?
I think that the draft year I think it's a good year. I think it's going to be an exciting year, and we're excited that we're in the top 60 enough times right now, that's always fun that you have more swings early in the draft, so that's exciting.
Doug, you've been the point person for the organization for the past couple of drafts now, and because of the Sharks' usual strong finishes during the season, or maybe the cost of acquiring some of the high-end players like Evander Kane or Erik Karlsson, you haven't always had that ability to make a lot of selections in the first few rounds. This year, you have 3 in the top 60, including 2 between the 31, I guess, now, and 35 picks. How much does that alter your planning and how you make your draft boards up?
Our last 6 picks, I think first rounders, I think we traded 3 and we drafted 3. So, we drafted Timo Meier, Josh Norris, Ryan Merkley. We traded for Evander Kane, Erik Karlsson, Martin Jones. So, Doug and Joe have prepped us really well on that side, just what's on the open market for that. And Burke and I will go over the list and have everything prepped. So I think for this year in particular, like Burke said, we're in a really good spot overall, but we did focus this year quite a bit on the top 60 guys, and we're ready to go.
How important has it been, Joe, to have the Barracuda so close to you over the past few years now to develop the future of the San Jose Sharks?
Well, it's been critical, and every day we're just so thankful that our owner was behind us moving out to San Jose and had the vision to have the Barracuda so close to the Sharks. And it's been great for our teams to be able to play the same way, for our coaches to talk and have the Barracuda ready to go up and play right away for the Sharks. To manage our roster a lot more efficiently, that we can make decisions on a game-to-game basis and easily pull players up and down with the Barracuda and actually accelerate their development. As you talked about, there's not a lot of young 18-year-old players in this league. There's usually about 8 players each year that kind of come in at 18, probably double at 19. But at 20, 21, 22, there's an awful lot of players. Most of the players in this league, that's the age that they're coming in now. And having the Barracuda so close and accelerating their development, we're able to take advantage of that and get some good young players into the lineup.
Doug, back to you. In addition to having a pretty good track record of finding NHL players later in the draft, the team's also excelled in another area of getting players, and that's in the free agent market. This past offseason, You added two of the most highly sought after undrafted free agents in defenseman Brinson Pazichuk and goaltender Alexei Melnichuk. Why has the team excelled in this area, and how important is it to the overall player acquisition process, Doug?
I think the biggest thing is we don't really work in silos in scouting and development. It all goes together, right? So one avenue is undrafted free agents, another one is the draft, another one is trade. We all work very closely to make sure that we're filling in, proper roles. From a draft, you're usually expecting your first round and your second round picks to come join your organization, 4 years down the road, and sometimes 3. And later picks, 4 years, 5 years, et cetera. So to be able to fill in that middle ground with 21, 22, 23-year-old free agents has been huge.
Tim Burke, we'll give you the last word as we get close to draft time. In your opinion, Tim, has the game evolved because the players have evolved, become faster, more skilled, et cetera? Or has the way you scout players changed because you're now looking for a different style of player because the game has evolved a certain way?
I think it's changed in the ways that younger players are training more and they're quicker and stronger. I think where a guy goes on the ice, his hockey sense, his ability to skate, I don't think a lot of that changes when you're looking at a kid at 18 years old. So I think a lot of the principles still hold true. The game's changed a little bit at top, but I don't think you scout that much differently right now.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for this. Tim Burke, Sharks Assistant General Manager, Joe Will, Assistant General Manager of the Sharks and GM of the San Jose Barracuda, and Sharks Director of Scouting, Doug Wilson Jr. Thanks for your time, gentlemen. Good luck at this most unusual of NHL drafts.